If you've ever watched this channel, there's a high likelihood you know I'm not a fan of hard meta or BBML teams. With that in mind, I took a look at PVPoke's Most Wanted and found a glaring weakness to a certain ground and steel type. Yes, these battles are in the Great League. I know, Ultra League starts today, but these are my first battles of the season, so I wanted to showcase them. So with that in mind, let's take a look at PVPoke's 452nd ranked Mon, the mole that stands just shy of 3 feet tall. I went on an impressive 15-0 run. Yes, impressive because it's the early start of the season, and this is Shadow Excadrill in the Open Great League with this very standard ABB style team with two quote-unquote dragons in the back. So without further delay, kick back, relax, grab a snack, and let me hit play. This team's called Maximum Copium because with the 452nd rank Mon in PVPoke's Great League meta, this was not gonna end pretty. Luckily for me, this isn't actually my first battle of the season, but I did want to showcase a Shadow Kyogre, some mad lad running a Shadow Kyogre in the Open Great League. They safe swap Vaporeon, or actually they counter swap a Vaporeon into my Gyarados. As you can probably tell, this is probably triple water. They get super greedy, and you're going to see them get even more greedy, because I think we managed to farm them down just before they managed to farm us down. And then their last Mon is a Poliwrath, and Poliwrath has been nerfed to the ground because of counter and because of the counter nerf, and so we managed to outpace with Dragonite's incredibly quick pacing this season, which I am such a fan of. If you saw the last video, you know Dragonite is my favorite Mon, and I am so happy that he finally got some love. You can see some flubs in the very beginning of the season. I haven't played for I think the past 2 seasons, and you can tell because I'm a little slow to certain swaps. I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? I get baited by a brick break. I don't know if my opponent was lagging or if they stopped tapping in order to get more farm with Beedrill, which doesn't make any sense because they should have put in some work. You're not going to farm down a Shadow Gyarados. It is incredibly glassy, but it's not that glassy. Gyarados is another Mon I am loving. This opponent isn't farming up to a potential drill run or any threatening move, so I do not have to respect it. Unfortunately for me, I realized that with this new moveset on Dragonite, I am completely walled by these ground ghost poison types. Yes, poison types. Clodsire walls me. Runerigus apparently walls me. But I guess it's either that or you're walled by a Azumarill. And I'd much rather not get walled by a Azumarill. I hate that bad bunny. Next up, a perfect lead in Morpeko. My opponent swaps immediately. I do take a Mudslap on Excadrill. Look how much that did. They build up to the Stone Edge, so I'm going to respect it. Luckily for me, they do go for the Stone Edge, and I think I can farm down. And I am. I'm able to come out with all of this energy, which helps because I'm down a shield. They're likely not going to shield the Morpeko, or maybe they will. I don't know what they want to do with this Morpeko. I have all of this energy, and I don't want to counter swap because they had such a hard punish to my Excadrill, so I think I'm just going to let myself go down. And seeing as they're still in their electric mode, they have nothing to threaten me with. We get the Mudslap through. Luckily, this start of the season has shown very little one-turn swap-ins, and they have a Clodsire. I managed to throw on perfect timing just because I had all that energy built up. And look at that. Look at this beautiful-ass monster. I love it. I misplayed this a little bit. I knew that I wouldn't take the Incinerate on my Typhlosion, on my Excadrill, and I wasn't sure how much Thunder Punch would do to Dragonite. And look at the bad bunny. Here it comes. And we are no longer walled. Thank the lords. Thank the Poke gods. Thank Arceus. So I think what I'm going to do going forward, since I'm not exactly... I probably won't play this team again. It did do really well for me. I went on a 15-0 run, but still, like, you know, I want to try some new Mons. Here I make a egregious mistake. I didn't realize that I got one turn bring in. I must have done like a Briggsy swap, or maybe I didn't realize that my damage hadn't registered. And so I lose all that energy on Excadrill. I do manage to CMP this Typhlosion because I figured that's what they were going to go for. But I think in retrospect, I might just swap out immediately into any of the 2 back Mons. That way I don't get outpaced, because Gyarados has 9 pacing to his Aqua Tail, and Dragonite has 10 pacing to Super Power and Thunder Punch. If I manage to get this Aqua Tail off and they don't catch, which they didn't, we still take this game, but this would have probably ended the 15-0 streak run. You'll see which Mon ends it in a second. Another core breaker, or Excadrill's core breaking. They safe swap Marowak. With this incredible pacing, I throw an alignment like a bozo. Luckily, they CMP, so it doesn't matter too much. Every Marowak and their grandmother loves to bait, but I can't really call a bait. I learned later that I do actually survive a Rock Slide, so if you want to call that bait, you know, be my guest. I'm not that brave. They double shield, and at this point, I figure at least one shield up, Dragonite can go to town, and so I bring it in immediately. They can come in with Empoleon. I can shield this and farm down. This is why I like Excadrill. It has that Mud Slap pressure, and they only make it to one Hydro Cannon, regardless of the circumstances. Even if they swap in and you swap in late, as long as you're pretty quick to it. I throw that move immediately because I do want to outpace. The Scizor didn't do a fast move in the beginning, so I am able to outpace, and we take that game. GG's. All right, let's see why I lost this match. I think regardless of what fast move Charizard has, I am a ground type. Yes, I do have Rock Slide coverage, but I think I should have safe swapped immediately into one of my back 2 Mons and put on the pressure. Now I'm on the back foot, and if my opponent gets greedy, which they do, they're likely going to shield and farm down. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do there. I didn't know if I wanted to get farm on my Excadrill. I was hoping that I would only take one move here and that they don't have the Poltergeist to like wipe me out. Excadrill can't take anything, but that wasn't too bad. And again, I do an extra Mud Slap for no reason, and now I'm going to get clapped. And here's where I'm realizing, like, as much as I love this moveset, this new moveset on Dragonite, I have nothing to threaten them with. Nothing to do with all of this power. I full send both moves because I wanted to try to catch on the Excadrill. Luckily for me, they do allow me to catch, but I am not close enough to the move, and I do die with it. And they still have a shield. I might have been able to, if I had been able to pull a shield from them, I might have been able to take this game. But this battle right here ended the 15-0 streak run. Another perfect lead, unless they're running bubble for whatever reason. They stay in, which means they are likely core broken by this mole, which is beautiful to see. My opponent farms up to 6, so I thought that it might have been a crunch. Jesus, I can speak today. I go straight for the crunch because I want to either ensure the knockout or take a shield. They do let it go, and this is great because Tentacruel, I mean, they can farm me down, but they're going to take a lot of damage. Gyarados has such great pacing this season, and I absolutely love it. I still make it to the crunch. Yes, they're likely going to invest 2 shields, maybe, I don't know. I didn't play these battles. And I come in with Dragonite because at worst, they're likely core broken by the mole, which they are. Not exactly what I want to see. I do CMP on the superpower just on the off chance that it doesn't KO. At least they waste all their energy. It does KO. I don't manage to make it to the Thunder Punch, but it doesn't really matter. I still have a shield to my name, and we managed to take that game. GG's. This mole put in so much work, and now this is tough. I can CMP on that Rock Slide, but I wasn't sure who won CMP. I think it's Machamp. And then like a bozo, I think I CMP here, so maybe I just answered my own question. No, okay, I didn't CMP, but they overfarmed. And since I have the back-to-back, I just go for the move. And at this point, I'm going to let it go. I've whittled down their Machamp to a respectable farm down range. Unfortunately for me, it's not too respectable. I am going to have to shield up this Rock Slide, I do believe. I don't think I got one turn bring in there. I think they really just did make the move on that sliver of HP. But now I have some energy on Dragonite. And assuming they don't bring anything that walls this completely, I throw just before their Hydro Cannon just so that I don't have to take any moves. And apparently my Excadrill had nowhere to go. So I bring it in just to do some damage. My opponent is likely farming up to the back-to-back, which is fine. I already have the Superpower Lord, or I'm 1 shy. No one move from this range threatens me. Okay, I'm a couple shy. But like I can survive a Fire Punch, I can survive a Scorching Sands. They're not at the Hyper Beam. And because I know what energy they have, I just farm them down. Another core breaker. Let's see what this not Russian man does. So he goes... I like this battle. He full sends the Hydro and then he topless. What are people doing? They do not respect this mole. Why would they? He's ranked 452nd, which I don't believe. I call bullshit. I typically bait, and that has cost me in the past, so I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. My opponent keeps overfarming, God knows why. They're likely going to farm down, and I make it to another crunch. And because people don't understand Gyarados' new pacing, this opponent also top lefts. What a way to start off the season, man. I am so gassed up by these battles. I am not a good player, but these battles sure are making me feel like I am. Again, another Gastrodon completely walled by Gyarados, also completely walled by Dragonite. And by completely, I mean like that Body Slam does do some respectable damage. I do have to throw the next Aqua Tail in order to ensure the KO unless they want to invest shields. And I think at this point I am going to let them invest shields, but my opponent makes a beautiful catch of the Aqua Tail, but this is fine. I think I'm just going to take this. I wasn't sure what their energy was at. I'm pretty sure they were too shy of the Scald, but I just wanted to take them out. And because the Gastrodon went for the move instead of a Mud Slap, I know this KOs. And so now I'm just curious what's in the back. And here is how to almost throw a game. Man, this is what I mean by I'm not a good player. Look, I'm watching that switch timer come up, and I'm expecting them to throw, and they do, but they didn't have to. They could have farmed me down. I didn't realize those bug bites were going to do as much damage as they did. And look at me try to throw this game again. I come in with Excadrill. They would have gotten the farm down, and my Dragonite probably would have been cooked. I might have been able to outpace them. I think I just didn't want to show my third, but in doing so, I like cost myself so much that game. I had the win, and I tried to punt it back twice. And you're going to see me CMP again. I'm still getting used to just being back and, tapping my way to legend. So it does end up costing me a few times. And I figure now I can make 2 Aqua Tails if I don't CMP. And I think my opponent saw that I was going to CMP and they went for the extra. They go for the extra again, I do believe. But at this point, they're really low. I think I can snipe, which is exactly what I do. And I expect them to throw the Rock Tomb. Even a Grass Knot wouldn't really... I mean, it would hurt. It would actually really, really hurt. But I'm up energy. They need to throw. And I think I can rely on Dragonite. I'm not walled by this Ghost type, thankfully. And I do still have Gyarados around. I'm liking the new switch timer, the new 45-second switch timer. It does allow for some more dynamic gameplay. I have the move. You're going to see me swap because they had the back-to-back. But this madman keeps over-farming. And I'm going to over-farm up to the back-to-back. I know I went CMP with Gyarados, I believe. But they sacked their Talonflame completely. I guess it really didn't have anywhere to go. But I have the move loaded. And because they didn't throw, because they expected, I guess, me to throw on alignment, I almost lost this game for myself again. What else is new? That's going to be the motto for this season. Almost losing myself a winnable game. This isn't as bad a matchup as you would think it is. Although they are on Bullet Seed, so it is a little worse than the Acid buff. I do want to try Credillia. I have a really good ranked Shadow one. But I know Credillia is like old season's news. And here I make a massive misplay. I forgot that when they came in on a 0-turn swap. So they did have one over what I thought they had. And I was trying to catch the Aqua Tail onto Gyarados. I should have done one less. And now, because I bait, what did I just say earlier? Don't bait, right? It's cost me in the past. It's going to cost me again. I likely could have made a crunch and at least 2 Aqua Tails. But now they have to shield. But they're going to farm me down. And Doom Desire is a very hard-hitting move. They predict the counter swap. And I knew they were going to predict it, but I should have caught on Dragonite and saved the move on Excadrill. Because at worst, they take out my Dragonite. And I still have all that energy on Excadrill. I could have had this game. But I don't have enough thrusting these pumps to, yeah, I was trying to swap and maybe save up the energy, but they would have had the back-to-back, and I would have lost anyway. GG's. Another Morpeko. You love to see these leads. They bring in what I thought was a Feraligatr, but no, it's a Blastoise. And it's a non-Shadow, so I can tank this, I think. But it's a freaking Ice Beam, so I do one and then throw because the, what's the quick move on this thing? The Rock thing wouldn't have registered. And then I'm seeing that I can probably farm this down. They need 3 more for the next Hydro Cannon. And I think I can get the farm down. And we do. They cannot bring back in more Morpeko. But they bring back in Talonflame. And because of Dragonite's new pacing, I know that it's only 10 to the next Thunder Punch. I was planning on throwing on alignment. But I didn't want them to catch. So at least now I can throw in the middle of their Incinerate or at the tail end of their Incinerate. And then I have a superpower loaded for this Morpeko, and GG's. Morpeko Had nowhere to go once Gyarados was gone. Its best match, and it's still not really a good match. Here I do one in the move because it doesn't have anything threatening for my back mons. So Skeledirge, still do one Mud Slap, and then come in with any of your back mons. I figured Gyarados was the safer play, and clearly I was right because they bring in a Guzzlord, and while I am walled, Dragon Breaths do still chunk, and if I can get the debuff, which I do, I force them to throw. And this is fine. I'm likely gonna need to shield up Excadrill because I don't wanna take a crunch for science. I'm not that brave. But I do know that I am close to a move on the Exca. My opponent knows that, so they throw immediately. And now I can still do one in the move because nothing's gonna KO. Here I make a massive flub. I am still getting used to Dragonite actually having coverage against the Azumarill. I am traumatized from the previous 20 seasons. So when I see a Azumarill, I don't want to bring my Dragonite onto that bad bunny. We hates this bad bunny. But you actually do have coverage now. 2 Thunder Punches plus the Dragon Breaths just about KO. So I could have brought in Dragonite safely and would have outpaced to, I think, 3 Thunder Punches. Thunder Punch! This is how you play this game. In the previous game that I didn't showcase, I accidentally... well, I mean, this is not exactly how you play it, but like, if you want to be brave and try to catch the Mud Bomb, be my guest. You do outpace now with the beautiful new coverage. So they were on their 5 cycle. I knew I was going to get there 1 turn before. And I thought they would throw, but they didn't. They bring in Dugong. And a lot of people have been playing Dugong because people are disrespecting Ice, which my team also does. Excadrill cannot tank anything. Excadrill is so glassy, but I wanted to give it a shot. I have a really good ranked Shadow Excadrill, and so I wanted to see what it could do, and it didn't disappoint. I have to get rid of this thing before they're able to catch, because I have a Dragonite that doesn't want to take any ice damage. Luckily for me, they bring in the Fearow. I think Fearow actually wins CMP against Dragonite. Has a really high attack. I'm not entirely sure why my opponent didn't throw. I think they would have had that match because I don't think... Maybe they were 1 turn behind. As you can see right there, I tried to swap, and my game said no. So I throw a freaking Mud Slap against a flyer like a bozo. Luckily for me, my opponent is farming for whatever reason. They're going to farm me down. I don't know why they would farm me down. Like, nothing threatens my Excadrill on this thing. Nothing. They have literally nothing to threaten me with. And they go for a Parabolic. Why would you... Oh my god. A Play Rough would have hit so much harder. But they do have some energy on this thing. They wait the turn, which was beautiful to see this early in the season. And I'm going to CMP with their next Aerial Ace. It does feel bad to shield it in Aerial Ace, but likely from this health, I would get KO'd. And now I can probably rely on Dragonite since they're energy dry, and Excadrill likely has nowhere to go. And they do have a Cradilly. Now, the reason I don't throw immediately here is because regardless, I'm going to have to debuff myself, and they're going to debuff me anyway. And if they shield the first one, I should have baited here, but obviously hindsight is a thing of beauty. I CMP here, or try to CMP. I guess they were going for the Grass Knot BM. But I don't have enough in the tank to take that, so we do lose that game. Ninetales is another mon that I do want to try with its incredible pacing. I don't know why they counter-swapped a Marowak. I think we actually both simul swapped, but I think Ninetales takes that. The new pacing on Ember is like incredible. Like they likely farm me down or at least strip both my shields before I'm able to do anything to them. This one does bait. Like once they gave up both their shields, I didn't really care anymore. But since they baited, I figured, you know what, I might as well farm them down. Maybe they are pretty weak to this thing in the back. So I do invest 1 shield. In comes Togekiss with its new Peck advantage. But what do we have in the back but Sir Dragonite? Never mind. I thought I was going to come in immediately into Dragonite. I think I'm coming in to sack this thing. Yes, I'm aware that it has Aura Sphere, but likely I'm going to have to invest in Dragonite. They don't catch, thankfully, and now I can probably just go for the superpower to KO the Ninetales. I do think in retrospect, one play that I would have made differently there was I would have saved the Aqua Tail on the Gyarados so that because as you can see, it was pretty much wasted on the Togekiss, and a Thunder Punch just about KOs a Togekiss from Dragonite. So I think in retrospect, I should have saved the Gyarados, brought in the Excadrill to sack it, and then saved the shield for Dragonite in the back. My opponent doesn't doesn't strip a shield from me. I don't know if they're not aware of the timing or the pacing on Excadrill, but they should have stripped the shield like the other opponent did, and then come in with Marowak. Non-Shadow Marowak actually tanks an Aqua Tail. Oh, I tank a Rock Slide from a non-Shadow. Okay, good to know, because I had completely forgotten about that. My brave ass would have tried to tank another one. And this is the biggest issue with Excadrill, and which is why I saved these degenerate plays for the back. You get 2 shielded run through by Charmers. And unfortunately, they're gonna outpace the Icy Wind, which sucks. And even though Charm does less damage, it certainly doesn't feel like it does less damage. Those Charms are chunking. One superpower doesn't KO, and there's no way in hell I'm farming this thing down. So yes, sadly, Wiggles is still the bane of my existence. And what do we have here? Another degenerate. You'll see why in a second. I did not want to take a Dragon Energy. I figured I might be able to. Here I'm overfarming way too much, man. Like, look at these Charms. Excadrill has 0 bulk. Even though I have such a good ranked Excadrill, I have 0 bark. They shield twice, which is insane. I know this is just a Psychic Fangs, but in retrospect, man, I'm throwing in the middle of their Charm so that they don't catch on Regidrago, but it doesn't matter. Look at this thing. This thing is so tanky. I don't even know this thing's name. Dash Bun. And I have to throw a move, or I get farmed down. I think they would have been at the next Psychic Fangs if I didn't, and my Excadrill is very, very, very sad. And this sucks because there is no way in hell I make another move. I save the superpower in the hopes that they would throw the Icy Wind for whatever reason. They don't, and even an undebuffed superpower doesn't KO the Wiggles, which is incredibly sad. And so we end this video on heartbreaking losses. I will be playing in the Ultra League once it drops. I don't know yet what I'm going to be playing, so if you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments. If you want to know what my plan is for this season, definitely check out this video. And if you're new to the world of GBL, check out this video. And I'll catch you in that next video. Peace.